in 2 weeks' time. For now, though, Castillejo, and this is his big chance to make a name for himself in the Spanish capital of Madrid. The champion, Vasquez, is a hard-punching southpaw from Santa Fe in Argentina. He's lost just once in 43 fights. 32 of his wins have been by way of knockout. Castillejo is the first Spanish world title challenger for 2 years. He's a year younger than the champion. He's won 29 of his 30 fights, and victory for him would give Spain their first world champion for 15 years. It's scheduled for 12 rounds. Let's go and join our regular commentary team of Jim Watt and Reg Guttridge.
Well, it's certainly refreshing to have a champion and a challenger. They've only lost one fight each in their careers. And, well, this fellow lost actually to the fighter from Nottingham, Del Bryan, on points, but surprised apparently by that decision. And Vasquez, well, his only defeat was very controversial, and after bell punch and was disqualified because his seconds had got in the ring. So the southpaw in the white trunks then. A real tough Argentinian, this fellow. Jim, you may remember we saw him in Benalmádena when Errol Graham was beaten by Julian Jackson, and again in Brighton on the Eubank and Dan Sherry bill. Bit surprised really that what he was doing on the undercard on those shows.
What I remember about him, Reg, a tremendous puncher, maybe a little bit crude at times, not a great technique, but just gets in there and lets the big ones go. But if he catches Castillejo, then this may not last long.
Well, you can't knock the fact that he won the championship, although it was declared vacant at the time because Vinny Pazienza had to give it up with a serious car accident, and then defended in 1 round. Can't beat that, can you? This fellow would do well to stand up to him, actually. Familiar face there to boxing fans. John Coyle, the referee from Wolverhampton. Star grade British official working this WBA light middleweight. That's 11 stone division. Spaniards must be a bit excited about this, Jim, having a challenger. They've had a few world champions in the past, but few and far between. One of the best, I thought, was Jose Legro. He fought out of Spain, but was actually Cuban-born. And Perico Fernandez, WBC back in '74. I think you remember him a bit, don't you?
Yeah, I remember him well. I got him in a European title fight, thankfully a successful one. But we have to say Castillejo is an underdog here. Very surprised. I'll be surprised actually if he goes the distance, because nothing in his record, a decent record, but nothing to suggest he should trouble Vasquez, although he fancies his chances in the first round here. Doing well.
It's good to see champions defending in the other fella's backyard. Well, he's not messing about with them, Coyle, is he? He knows how to pull them apart. He's a good, strong referee. I don't mean physically, I mean in opinions as well. He's having a go in the opening round, isn't he? This will get the crowd at it a bit. Let's hope it could even rattle the Argentinian.
See, I think this is what boxing at home does. It just makes you try that little bit harder. You can't, you know, if you're boxing away from home, you can come back with excuses. But when everybody's there watching, it certainly brings the best out. Castillejo's a little bit reckless here, which is dangerous against such a big puncher. But what a good first round.
Yeah, you can't beat a touch of the old flower of Scotland where you were concerned, Jim. You almost joined in the singing in your championship fights. Well, they're well pleased at the start, aren't they? And you can understand that. It's a decent round for the challenger. So there's a replay, Jim. There's a good exchange here.
Well, that was right at the start of the round. Champion tried for another quick finish, didn't come off, and Castillejo got himself well into the round.
Well, there you go. I wouldn't mind a replay of that either, would you? They seem to be vying these days, promoters, to get the prettiest girls to do the rounds boards. What a change in the corner men, Jim. Like my old grandfather, who worked at the old National Sporting Club in the corners, would have, well, I think he's spinning in his grave watching these hairstyles now. He used to have short back and sides. He was even known to trim boxers' hair in the corner. Second round. Now, I suppose Vasquez has got to stamp a bit of authority on it here. He's obviously so used to having 2 championships now in 1 round. He thinks this is long distance going into the second. Don't know whether he's got that body protector a bit high, Jim, or whether the shorts are coming down. Bit of both.
Yeah, well, it seems to have a little bit of defence in his mind as he moves around the ring, the challenger, but when he decides to go to work, he does it wholeheartedly. He's not just flicking with long punches, he's moving right in, and he's taking a few chances, so it may not be too long before Vasquez just pins him on the end of one of those big punches. See, he keeps it at a distance and then just springs into life and just charges forward. A little bit reckless.
Comes out of the same manner, as they say, Santa Fe in Argentina, as the great Carlos Monzon. He was one of your favourites, Jim. Different style to this, and just 6 pounds heavier.
A good left hand there from the champion.
He's a good colourful southpaw, actually, Jim, isn't he, Vasquez? You know, he's not the back-off type, awkward stance stuff. He's almost square on at times.
He's just a little bit slow in getting his punches off, Vasquez. He doesn't like fighters who spring towards him so quickly. He likes to back them up, set them up for the big punches. But the way Castillejo is just moving around and springing forward, Vasquez is finding it difficult to time him coming in.
Well, they've imported the usual so-called neutral judges. Germany, Panama, Mexico. In case it goes 12, the referee doesn't vote.
Well, Vasquez get through again with a good solid left hook, bang onto Castillejo's chin, or that one after the break. But it hasn't troubled the challenger. Obviously a decent chin. 2 good punches this round.
Looks Cole was also mentioning a little bit of touch of the forearm with that punch, wasn't it? Good start, isn't it?
Yep, well, Castillejo is certainly fired up, throwing good shots inside. See, he just seems to charge forward, puts his head down and charges forward. He's making plenty of mistakes, becoming a little bit bad-tempered now.
Yeah, the crowd were, but that wasn't after the bell, that punch. I mean, it was on the bell. And boxers are not timekeepers. So they are, Jim, replay now. There's Castillejo on the attack there.
See, not really smooth attacks that he mounts. He just gets his forehead nice and low and charges forward. Maybe a little bit of facial damage is going to show up as this one goes on with the heads banging together.
Determined looking character, though, this Vasquez, I tell you that. He looks as though he's setting himself up to wait for the big dig to come over. Round 3. He looked pretty good knocking over that fellow called Alfonso Bailey, Jim, when Graham fought Jackson in Spain, didn't he? Just got in, got out quickly. We haven't really seen enough of him.
He does have tremendous power, but he's finding it awkward here. Castillejo boxing the right fight, keeping on the move, just keeping at a distance and then just springing into life. And he's that little bit sharper than Vasquez. Vasquez needs to get those punches out a little bit quicker. Yeah, a lot better a fight than I imagined it would be, Reg.
Yeah, me too. It's very competitive. They're trading well.
I really expected Castillejo to be safety first on the move all the time, but not quite the opposite.
To be honest, Jim, I think he's worthy of a higher rating than the WBA have been giving him. He was about 9 and 10 when I last looked. He's the first Spanish challenger for a World Championship since Poli Diaz went 12 rounds with Penel Whitaker. That was back in '91.
See, Vasquez has turned to orthodox here, trying to make use of the left hook. The left hook has been his most effective punch, but not too many of them landing cleanly. But, switching to orthodox here.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if there's not some cuts here. I mean, they're bumping and boring a bit close in. It's not deliberate butting, but it's a bit rough.
See, sometimes against the big punchers, the closer you are, the safer you are, and I think that's the idea that Castillejo has in his mind. When it's at long range, he keeps out of range, but when he goes to work, he gets right up close, but there's that good little sharp left hand again from the champion.
Yeah, you're quite right. That's the way to do it. If you walk inside the punches, they can't swing at you and get some leverage. But it takes a bit of guts to do it. Quite impressed with the Spaniard, and I've got a feeling the Argentinian is as well.
Castillejo is going at a much faster pace than the champion expected, and he's not sharp enough to go with him. Missing with some punches. A real good start from the challenger.
Oh, they were after the bell, quite rightly. Gets the well-known coil finger treatment there, and the crowd don't like that. The referee will start getting, you know, a bit of wobbly knees if he's not careful, and the crowd start going for it. Finding a good fight, that guy. I don't know, well, she's probably fought a few good fights in her time as well, I should think. Coming up for replay.
See, nothing clever from Castillejo, but plenty of commitment, just boring forward, trying to keep the champion in his back foot to take some of the power out of the punches. Just boring forward, trying to keep the champion in his back foot to take some of the power out of the punches, and a real good effort so far.
When the bell goes ding, stop boxing, okay?
I like that. He even did the bell sound there, the referee, Jim, just in case he's not sure. Well done, Coyley. So we can call him Ding Dong after that. Fourth round.
See, I think Vasquez is going to have to take the initiative a bit more. He's been trying to react to Castillejo's advances, and it's not working. He's not sharp enough. So he's going to have to take charge here and start backing this fellow up. I've got him behind. I think Castillejo has outworked him in the first couple of rounds.
Stop boxing, stop! Box.
This Castillejo actually had a war with Lyndon Scarlett from Dudley, and he had to need the last round to get a decision, but it looks as though he's transformed. He's pumped himself up for this one.
See, I think a lot of that is due to the fact boxing in front of his own people, it really brings the best out, and it's done. What he's doing is a little bit crude, but it's total commitment. He's really going for it here. I mean, a real class fighter, Reg, with a Castillejo coming in so open and so square. But Vasquez is not sharp enough tonight. Left hand working well, but he's not sharp enough.
It's giving him every chance to work properly inside there, the referee, but they're just slapping there. Might as well get them apart. See, their arms are not working there. He can call break. Well, now they are, you see. That's the difference. In amateur boxing, then they've got to look at each other when they call break. Crowd loving this, Jim, and it is a good fight.
Yeah, well, as we're saying, far more competitive than we thought. I thought we'd have been looking for Castillejo to steal the title, but here he's standing his ground. He's not punching as hard as the champion, but he seems to be as physically strong as he is. Just a little bit messy up close, and we'll have to put that down to Castillejo, just keeping himself out of bother.
To repeat that, good start there by Javier Castillejo, the Spaniard who really has come from nowhere to get this shot. And Vasquez is finding a bit of an uphill struggle, which surprises me as we come up to the end of the fourth. And it's time for a break. And it's round 5 coming up then. For the Argentinian champion, Julio Cesar Vasquez. Not to be confused, of course, with the great Julio Cesar Chavez, the Mexican. Struggling a bit here against Javier Castillejo in the red trunks. So the Spaniard really responding to his own crowd there. And Jim Watney got him ahead.
And as I was saying about Vasquez, a little bit crude a couple of times. We've seen him very effective, but it's against a shifty opponent like this, where if you don't have a good technique and you can't march forward properly, then you're going to have problems, and that's what's happened here. Vasquez is not sharp enough, and he's got to get sharpened up, got to take charge a bit more if he wants to hold on to his title.
Starting to get used to fighting in Europe, actually. Vasquez has been in Paris 4 times. He knocked out Judas Clotti, based out of Liverpool. That was a one-rounder too. He did well to beat the Yank Tyrone Trice. And there was a bit of an upset there over the size of gloves. Apparently Retton's Trice said this fella had smaller gloves than me. Anything can happen in this business.
This is better stuff now from Vasquez. He's getting his punches off quicker, but still plenty of courage from Castillejo.
Yeah, he whips those punches in fairly solid at close quarters there, Vasquez. Particularly the southpaw left hook.
Now, I would have expected to see more aggression from Vasquez. He's a big puncher. Usually depends on the knockout and usually looks for it, but not tonight. His punches have certainly been better in this round, Reg. Looking a little bit more like the thing.
Castillejo's had 17 stoppages and 29 wins, which is fairly average, Jim, I suppose, so maybe he doesn't carry that much of a punch. How much influence the crowd are going to have on the judges, and they sort of call it an unconscious bias. It's what's known among judges, actually. Some punches that are not really getting home, the crowd are yelling, and maybe they're scoring them. Well, they're very happy with their man's night's work, and there he is, relatively unmarked. There you are, Jim, in replay again.
Well, still a good battle, Reg, a little bit scrappy at times. But I thought Vasquez, his punches were a little bit better in that round. Maybe with the pace slowing, it's giving him that split second longer to get the punches home. But still the challenger doing plenty of attacking. Nice little left hook there from the champion.
Yeah, he's good at that one. When he, you know, that's the punch he could nail him with. Coming out for round 6. And certainly the Spaniard, well, certainly got a good chance of going all the way, and who knows, maybe stealing the verdict. Well, I'm not so sure that these trunks are going to go all the way, though. That's the problem here. Can't understand why he's not yanking those up a bit. Have you got it, Jim?
I've got the challenger 1 round in front at the moment, Reg. He's been a few scrappy rounds too, but I just think that the work rate of the challenger has just kept him that little bit in front. He's kind of charging forward with the head down, but throwing plenty of punches. He's not really much more accurate than the champion, is he? But he's just that little bit busier. It's been a good battle, but not enough. A lot of clean punches been landed. More effort than anything else.
Yeah, a bit of scuffling going on, particularly inside like this. I'm amazed, Jim, we haven't seen any blood there, but the way the heads have been banging together there.
I'm surprised at how adventurous Castillejo is. I really thought he would have been on his bike, just trying to use the jab at long range, but he hasn't. He's got up close, and the fight is now beginning to suit the champion. His strength is beginning to take a little bit of charge.
The amazing thing is, Jim, he looks as though he could fight all night, but we don't know yet. The champion, he hasn't fought the 12 rounds. He's been billed to fight them, and he's never fought for the local championship, which surprises me. See, Coyle there, referee. He's given them every chance to fight inside. He doesn't want to keep parting them the moment they get close in. Little signs of weariness there already, Jim, by the 6th round, didn't they? Good pace they've set for light middleweights. Well,
especially Castillejo. I mean, he has really driven himself on, but he doesn't really have a great idea of the game. You know, he doesn't box his way in, slip punches and draw leads. He just puts his forehead down and charges. And that's another good one. See, that's that left hook again from the champion. That's the punch that always looks like finishing the job. See, Castillejo, it's all just like pride. That's more of a stumble. Yeah, that's just a stumble.
It's quite right, the referee there, yeah.
But the strength is going out of the challenger's performance now. Won't be too surprised, Reg, if this finishes quite soon.
Yeah, it was a good round there for Vasquez. And now he's just feeling that soreness of battle, a little bit of bloodied nose. A little bit of conflab going on there with the fighter and the trainer. There it is, just a shove on the ropes in that replay there. Jim just slipped over, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he's bullying himself forward, so that time he can have tripped up. But you can see the champion really getting in charge here, really for the first time, making his power and his strength tell. The challenger looking very weary.
Well, I don't blame him looking at her between rounds anyway. Not a bad judge. 7th round coming up. Good competitive WBA version of the light middleweight championship of the world. Then 11 stone. Other champions, by the way, long reigning one, and Gianfranco Rossi from Italy, IBF. John David Jackson, who defeated Chris Pye at WBO. And Terry Norris, one of the best fighters at any weight around at the moment, the WBC champion. He defeated Sugar Ray Leonard.
The champion looking more effective now. The pace has slowed down a little bit. Castillejo not quite so frisky, not so moving so quickly on his feet. The champion getting the punches home now.
Vasquez won the championship from a Japanese, Kamiyama, last December, but 1 round in Buenos Aires.
See Castillejo holding the champion's gloves up close. He's feeling the pace, he's tired. Yeah, things beginning to swing away now towards the champion.
Yeah, this is where the old seasoned pro, 43 fights, only one defeat and a disputed one, then Vasquez starts to take over. Still no substitute for experience in this game, Jim, is there?
Yeah, and Castillejo, he's made so many mistakes. As I said earlier, a real good quality champion would have nailed him by now, because he's given plenty of chances, chin unprotected, just boring forward. But Vasquez has never managed to do that. But it's certainly a better chance now that the pace is slowing.
Pity there's a bit of mauling going on like this, because otherwise it's a really hard fight. It's hard enough, mind you.
Yeah, but at least they're still throwing punches, they're not clutching. Now and again, Castillejo is grabbing hold of the champion's gloves, but take a little breather.
Oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, he takes a good punch, John Coyle, that's all right. Don't often see that. I wonder what would have happened there, Jim. It's been known for referees to get tagged like that, of course. Do they take mandatory counts as well, referees? Good close-up there. You can almost, well, Jim, I don't, you know, you could almost be back in there. You don't want to see that too much, do you, close in like that?
Thought he was going down there, Reg. I saw a little sag of the knees, but he was actually dipping. It looked as though he was going on the floor then from a body shot.
Just as well Vasquez is keeping his punches up, because it'd be difficult to judge whether it's a low punch or the way those shorts are hanging down. Well, they're waving their man on, and quite rightly so, but he's in a bit of trouble now. In the replay here, Jim, this is where he's propped on the ropes.
Yeah, that's what it looked as though he was just going to take a little count there, but he was actually just dipping his knees. But we're seeing his back to the ropes now a lot more often.
Well, all the encouragement, of course, he can't see that. He's got other things on his mind there, Castillejo. Well, the first signs of real battle as he went back to that corner there, the swelling under the right eye, the champion. And it's the 8th round of the scheduled 12, of course, championship of the world. Hello, Jim, he's coming to life a bit again now, the challenger.
Well, you expect a bit of life the first 30 seconds of a round, but if he can sustain it into the last minute, then he's got plenty left. If not, he's going to be tiring, but a good pace at the start here.
I imagine the cornermen have told him, hey, you've blown a couple of rounds now, you better get back into this. But Jim and I thought he was, well, certainly a round ahead by the 6. Good short puncher though, Vasquez, Jim, isn't he? He's hurtful. Look at those left hooks going in.
That left hook really has, I mean, he certainly must have a good chin, Castillejo, because he's been caught bang on with that left hook. He's taken them well. He hasn't even been wobbled by them.
He's trying to move there to his own left, Castillejo, to get away from that left hook. It's a difficult punch to block from a southpaw, Jim, I imagine.
Yeah, well, especially the way Castillejo charges forward, he doesn't really have a great defence, which is why I thought Vasquez would have caught him cleanly more often and maybe more solidly. He's actually lasted longer already than I thought he would have done. But again, boxing for the World Championship, it pulls that little bit out, makes a fighter a better fighter just that one night.
Well, there's plenty of action now. 8th round. Just got a bit quieter in the previous rounds, relatively anyway, and then suddenly it's opened up again. Good shape these fellas are in, Jim, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it's been a good pace all the way through. Even the couple of quiet rounds we were speaking about, still at a decent pace. And that's the thing about the big punching Vasquez. How is he going to cope with the distance? Certainly not used to it.
Yeah, he's certainly been under enough pressure anyway to create some tiredness. His last fight was in France, just a three-round job in March. And Castillejo also had a warm-up fight in March and won. So let's have a look at this replay now. Some good exchanges here.
Well, a real good battle, but the quality shots here coming from the champion. Again, a little bit untidy, but I think we're getting a little bit used to that. As long as it's action, we don't mind. But the champion again looked as though he was about to take charge. Then just when we thought he was going to take charge, back comes Castillejo.
9th round. And if anything, Jim, the pace has increased, which surprises me. Oh, he nearly nailed him with that one, Jim. He was close to going there, Castillejo, but he's a gutsy enough fighter. To be fair to him, Jim, although he's not highly ranked, he had a couple of decent wins in '92 against the former world champions Harry Arroyo and Sol Mamby. Admittedly, they're a little bit over the hill at their age, but they were nonetheless good wins.
Well, you can't question his commitment. He's seen this as his big chance, and he's really been going for it. He's taken good shots, ignored them, and just kept going. As I've said before, boxing in front of your own town, your own people, brings out the best. Even Vasquez's punches are beginning to look a little bit tired now. He's not generating the same power he was earlier. Both feeling the pace.
We're talking about the impact of home crowd, Jim. You fought in Spain. How did that happen to you there? What sort of reaction does that give you?
Yeah, well, I found them quite a hostile crowd, actually. You know, taking a fair bit of abuse on the way into the ring, but afterwards I well won the fight, and they were certainly very sporting afterwards, but a little bit of hostility I found.
So that can affect performance, can it?
Well, no, not from an experienced performer, and especially people from Argentina, the Argentines. I mean, they're used to travelling. There's not big boxing really over there, so I don't think it's troubled the champion here at all. Again, it's getting untidy, the action, but plenty of action. A little bit of shoulder there, that looked like.
He was half trying to wave to the crowd there, the Spaniard. Maybe not.
Yeah, it looked as though he was calling the crowd on.
Yeah, he was trying to do a bit of an alley job there. I'm afraid nobody can do anything that Ali did well.
Well, this is an untidy round here. We're not really seeing clean punches. We have to expect that. It's been a fair pace, and it's going to get a little bit messy now and again. The referee wants to break them up here. Not enough punches been thrown. That's that left hook again. Vasquez has always looked dangerous with that.
I'm surprised really that the Spaniards stood up to some of those left hooks. They're good shots. Of course, he's only lost one contest on points, as I said earlier, to Del Bryan of Nottingham, which, looking back for Bryan now, is a good win. So, but he can obviously absorb a punch pretty well. Time for a quick break, but we'll be right back. So we're back then around 10. And there's not too much separating these now, Jim. I probably got Vasquez in the white trunks of southpaw just ahead. What do you think?
Yeah, well, his work's certainly been better. Castillejo, still plenty of enthusiasm, plenty of courage. but he's making more mistakes now than he's ever done, and he's just having to force himself to stay in the fight. They're both a little bit tired, but the challenger a little bit more so.
Championship fight without knockdowns. Not too many bruises of battle, actually. Surprises me with the roughness at the fight at close quarters. I thought may have drawn a bit of blood, but it hasn't done. Just as well. Not too much power, actually, with Castillejo's punches. Now, that shouldn't really make any difference with the scoring, Jim, but often that does, doesn't it? Remember, German, Panamanian, Mexican judges, if it goes to 12, and it looks set for that, doesn't it?
Yep, well, Castillejo has taken Vasquez's best shots, the left hook in particular, taken them well. He hasn't even been wobbled, so no signs. I fancied maybe a quick stoppage for Vasquez, but certainly no signs of that. It's beginning now to look like a distance fight. We're well into the 10th round now.
A real gutsy challenge there by the Spaniard. Certain ways I've been impressed with him, Jim. He's a little bit better than number 10 or somewhere in the WBA list, I would have thought. He's a legitimate challenger if he's in the top 10, of course. And Vasquez was entitled to a voluntary defence. And having fought quite a bit in Europe now, he must be getting some attraction. And brings quite a few fans either with him or based in Europe.
See, I think Castillejo has risen above any of his previous performances here. I think it's all down to the big opportunity in front of his own people, because he doesn't really have a great idea of the game. He's not doing anything clever. He doesn't mount sensible attacks. He just launches himself at the champion. It's been effective, but I think that's down to maybe a kind of poorness of performance from Vasquez. I expected better from him. But having said that, it's made it a real good battle. Made it a good even match.
He gets a bit gamer, doesn't he, John Cole, the referee? He gets very close there. He almost copped for one early on, but maybe he's standing is just that little foot away now. Don't blame him. He's starting to throw punches again now in the 10th. Maybe they knew the bell was coming up. So there's Castillejo on the ropes, Jim, in this replay again.
Yeah, but not clean shots coming from the champion. Vasquez still can't pin him down enough to get the big punches home.
So now they're really trying to pump this fellow up, aren't they? The challenger from Spain. He's done well. And, well, I don't think there's much in it, frankly. You're always looking for sort of hometowners when you get close fights like this. In the 11th. More solid blows definitely coming from Julio Cesar Vasquez. Exactly the same height, by the way, if you haven't already noticed, both 5'9". Well, that'll go against him a little bit with the judges, Jim, with the referee reminding him that he's holding.
Vasquez is certainly, looking more like the article now. Using his strength and his power now. He's not been doing that enough throughout the fight. Too often he allowed Castillejo to do the leading off. Liked a bit of sharpness, but now since the pace slowed down, I think the champion has looked a little bit better.
Yeah, he's very much in the mould of the Argentinian battlers. There's Juan Koji, Argentinian champion, who fights in Europe a lot. They're hard nuts, solid fighters. Victor Galindez, late Victor Galindez, a similar style to this at light heavyweight. Carlos Monzon was a better boxer than this, but a real rough handful when need be. See, these fellas have to travel a bit more, Jim, because the great Luna Park shows they used to run in Buenos Aires, there's not enough attractive fighters around for running big shows, and probably not enough money in the country either to attract the ringsiders.
Been untidy at times and scrappy, but it's always been good. It's always always hold your attention. Full credit to Castillejo, who put up a real good show, far better show than we expected.
But can it go his way, Jim? He's still battling away there.
He's looking very tired, Reg. There's no real authority in his punches now. They're both tired, but Castillejo really looking weary.
Those ropes are tied together there to stop them parting. That's a relatively new ring in the last sort of 10 years or so. Brought in by the medical commissions to stop boxers falling out of the ring as much as they can anyway. Used to be 3 ropes, now there's 4. Now, as you say, Jim, the champion's got well on top towards the end of this fight now.
Yeah, he's using his strength and power now.
I thought for a minute there may just be a glimmer of hope there for Castillejo, allowing for a little bit of prejudice. Well, at least they haven't got the energy to throw punches after the bell now. The crowd still give the impression that they think their man's going to win. And have another look at that.
Well, Castillejo is still trying to fire back, but the champion really looking stronger, more businesslike. Good punches. Both feeling tired, but that's where he almost went over. Just a little bit of tiredness plus the effects of the punch.
Coming out for the final round. And, well, those trunks of the Spaniards have managed just to stay up. Bit of a half-mast job there. Well, he's staying 12 rounds fine, isn't he, Vasquez, Jim? I didn't really ever doubt it, frankly, because he's a good trainer and he's in good shape. But when they haven't done it, there's always a little wonder, well, can anybody do it? But this fellow just wasn't a powerful enough puncher, was he, to sap his stamina?
No, and I think that the pace that Castillejo set in the early rounds, it took its toll in the middle rounds, and that's where the fight switched away from him. Doing well up until the 5th and 6th rounds, then he just started to feel a little bit tired, had to drop the pace and allowed the champion into things.
Oh, he's still standing up to them well, I'm amazed. Some of those left-hand shots, and there was a right-hand punch came in as well there from the champion. Good enough to nail another fighter, I would have thought.
Yeah, when you're feeling a little bit tired, that the punch resistance is not the same as it was. So he's done well keeping his feet. Castillejo, some real good, another good right hand there.
Stop boxing! Stop boxing!
Yep, I thought he had a lace coming undone there. He's gave it the old regimental treatment there, John Cole. He means it when he calls the orders, and rightly so.
There is a lace hanging down there, but I think he's just decided to let it carry on.
Yeah, it'll be in the last round. Just a bit of bandage, actually, not an actual glove lace. Still a good competitive last round now, but I think looks like the Argentinian's going to nick it, Jim, all right.
Yeah, he doesn't have much left, I mean, this is a fairly big round for the champion. Castillejo really has nothing left but his pride and his courage. So he's not really throwing punches, he's trying to force himself forward. Yeah, plenty of guts, plenty of courage.
Crowd roaring their man on, but there's quite a sizable contingent from Argentina, or as I say, exiles, cheering on Vasquez as well. Good finish.
It's also teaching Vasquez that he can't knock everybody over, so the experience will do him a bit of good as well.
Yeah, he's got a lot to face with the rival association champions actually now, Vasquez, to try and unify the championship, and let's hope that that can be done. It's about time. So there it is, too late for a count out, of course. And a good friendly finish as always now, while the The judges tot up the cards, and the MC Harry is ready with the verdict. So he's just hoping for the best there and trying to court a bit of favour. There it comes.
Puntúa
German judge.
114-113, 114 to 113.
1 point.
El señor Villalobos.
Panama.
Puntúa 115 to 114.
Also 1 point. Close.
114. El señor Hernández.
Mexican.
Puntúa 120 a 115.
Oh no, that can't be. Whoever he's given it to, Jim, hasn't lost a round.
115 para el ganador.
120,
por
115.
decisión unánime.
And he's retained the championship
champion
there.
of the world, Julio.
Well, he's going to take a lot of shifting now, isn't he, from the championship, and well, his little boy in there as well. What a good ending that is. So then, with the World Championship punches, we go back to our regular series of the big hitters.